So it's wonderful to have Mary McKenna, founder of Tour America, here with us for a little interview at the 2020 Entrepreneur Experience. Mary, over the last 25 years, has built Tour America into one of Ireland's leading tour operators. And along that road, there have been many twists and turns and ups and downs. And Mary today is going to share with us some valuable insights about her journey to date. And I'm going to dive straight into the first area that she wants to cover with us. And that is an area which I think is relevant, not just to businesses at Mary's stage of development, but to businesses at all stages of development. Whether you're small, medium, or large, it's important to build organizations that have high levels of both agility and resilience. And I think Mary has, this year has been a particularly tough year in terms of 2020 for the travel industry. And I think the work that Mary has done with her team in terms of developing an organization that has both agility and resilience is coming to the fore this year. So Mary, talk to us about those two areas in terms of what they mean to you and what you've done over the past 25 years in building an organization with those at the heart of it.
First of all, Pete, thank you very much to Cork Vic and the Entrepreneur Experience. I'm delighted to be here today. So yeah, great question. And I just think of on the 18th of March when I closed my Dublin office and I turned the key in the door and walked away, not knowing when I was going to open my offices again, how I reacted. And I was like this swan on the river, you know, looking very calm, and underneath the water, my feet were going crazy. So for those 2 weeks, like many other businesses, it was very stressful. And I had to dig deep back into my past, and that's where I went. And so 25 years later has prepared me somewhat for today. I mean, you did mention travel being hit the hardest, and it is definitely an industry that's been hit way above any other industry. We have had no income coming into travel since March. We had to give back all the money we took in the previous year, and we've had to still keep operating, taking care of our customers. So what I personally did was, it just brought me back to the importance of resilience and agility, and helped me prepare for this tough time, which it is a really tough time for anybody in business. And you know, when I started my business, I thought it was going to be a straight line, and that was an experience. And it has been nothing like that. It's been up, down, up, down, up, down. But by going through those downs, you do prepare yourself for times like this. And what I've learned is that you will always come through those ups and downs, or you'll experience them. So for us, the first hit that we got as a business was September the 11th. And the tragedy of September the 11th and the impact it had on the business. So after a couple of days of dealing with, you know, having relatives who lived in the States, and this being a main destination, and being in mourning for the terrible tragedy that happened, I realized very shortly after that my business was gone. I had no business whatsoever. Everything I was selling was holidays to the States, and nobody was going to the States anywhere in the world. And I kind of didn't know what to do. I was in fear. I didn't know what action to take next. And I went in and felt a bit sorry for myself, and kind of locked myself away for 2 weeks. And then the reality is you got to get up, be a leader, lead your team, make decisions, and make decisions fast. And I noticed some specials coming in for cruises. And I decided then we'd set up, because I had to let go of 11 people as well, which really got to me. And I set up cruise holidays a couple of weeks after, and we took back all the staff that we had let go. And then it was like, so you're building it back up and you're experiencing those knocks again. And I say this, I have been punched, knocked, and what I'm really good at, and this is resilience, is getting back up and fighting. And 25 years later, you know, this gets you ready. It's a bit like training and losing the game and getting hit and going through a broken leg and coming back up as a sports person. You get stronger and you learn from those experiences. And we really learned as a business. And it's about survival now and building a future, because there will be a future for travel. Won't be till Easter.
Yeah, because not just were you hit back in 2001 with 9/11, you then actually experienced another big hit that wasn't inside the office but was outside the office in 2004, where you were nearly killed on the pavement outside your Abbey Street head office.
Yeah.
that brings a whole new level of resilience where
Definitely.
you're in hospital and looking to recover, and it's, you know, it's one thing weathering it from a business perspective. When you look at it from a personal perspective, that's very, very difficult. Talk us through that period.
Well, at that stage in my life, that was the 24th of January 2004. It was a Saturday. I was working 7 days a week. I had nothing else in my life. I was work, 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 work. And you know, when I started the business, I had to work. I had to work really, really hard. But that was a Saturday. I went in, the holiday world was going on. I went in to collect flyers. I was at the back of the office, and I got knocked down and run over by a Jeep. And I broke all my ribs, punctured both my lungs, fractured my pelvis, my hip, and I was given a 50-50 chance of survival. And not only, you know, I was at the back of the office, all my staff were out there looking at me, and it was just awful. But I realized something about myself that day as well from playing sport. I played hockey. I was hit with hockey balls all the time. Is that I wanted to survive. So in a moment I said, oh God, I'm not dead. If I'm going to die, I'm going to be in terrible pain. But I knew I wasn't dead, that I wanted to survive, that I wanted to live, whether I couldn't walk or not. And I was back in my office 8 weeks later. Now, I was, you know, on crutches, but I had a survival instinct, and I also had a life lesson. I love what I do. I love my work, but I realized that you have to have a balance in life. And there was a very important lesson. So I don't work Saturday and Sundays now very often. And really my family and taking care of yourself and well-being can fit hand in hand. And if I had died that day, I had a great life, but oh my God, have I had a brilliant life since, you know. So I'm very grateful. But yeah, from a business point of view, I really gave 100% to work after, but I just worked in a smarter way. And I think that's very important as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's become very popular is the word sustainability at the moment. And most people, when they talk about sustainability, they talk about it with an environmental perspective in mind. Whereas I think what I'm seeing more and more people do now is look at sustainability from a human side of things.
Yeah.
What is sustainable? And we all know there's levels of effort and work that we can put in at different stages of our lives to get us from different places. But there is a time where we need to make sure we get our worlds, our own personal worlds, sustainable, and getting that balance right. So you had that. 2001 was 9/11. 2004 was the accident. Then you had 2010, which was the ash clouds, which effectively closed down the world of flying. And now you have COVID. So I remember meeting you early in COVID, and I thought, you know, here's someone who's on the front foot, someone who's looking to be optimistic about what can come out of this and how they're going to respond to it. And here we are now in the kind of in the second lockdown, and you're still resilient and strong. I think it's probably because you've built an organization that is behind you and that realizes that it's important, that there is bumps in the road. And I think that's probably a really valuable insight that people should do in their businesses, because it's, as people say, it's very easy when everything is going right for everybody to be happy and everything to be working perfectly. It's often not until you hit a speed bump that you really realize the importance of having a team that's aligned around you to respond to that. And I think that's one of those things. I would say that resilience and agility, they're things. You showed agility in terms of going from going into the cruises when nobody was flying. You've shown resilience in terms of getting up again and again and fighting back anytime you get a challenge. And I think the insight is that these challenges do happen. You know, everybody, if you look at journeys with the longevity of a journey like yours in terms of 25 years and still going strong and still growing, last year 2019 being your biggest year in terms of 22 million of turnover, it's a phenomenal achievement. And I think that's the important thing to know, for people to know that there is knocks along the way. And if you have self-belief and stay on the front foot, they're not knocks that are gonna kill you. The second one is that it's not an easy journey. You talked about the ups and downs, and sometimes I describe it as a roller coaster, right? That as you're on the roller coaster, you know, sometimes when you're going down, you wonder, is it going to come up again, right? But the journey of entrepreneurship is a bit like a roller coaster, but you got to get comfortable that after you go down, you will start to go up again.
And it's about doing the right thing as well. Like, I mean, so my blueprint is, you know, if I go back to the journey of March, which had a massive impact on our business, I made decisions very early on that were nothing like what my fellow colleagues in travel did. So when I met with the management team, I said, we're going to do the right thing. Yes, we're going to make sure the business is there, but the right thing by the customer, the right thing by the staff. So the two things that I've really learned over 25 years, having really worked on educating myself and doing all these leadership courses, is customers. Like, how important is it to take care of your customers, and the staff, to have the staff aligned. So at the very beginning, when COVID happened, we made a call and said, this might go on a little longer. So let's do the right thing for the customer. Let's contact all our customers who are due to travel later and offer them to move to 2021. Now, Pete, that ended up being a very good move. I did not think it was going to go on as long as it did. But by doing that, we were communicating with customers. I was doing videos to customers. We're licensed and bonded, which meant they were always financially protected. But, you know, we haven't opened up our office because we can do Zoom calls. So we put safety as an important criteria as well for the staff and customers. And then we put communication to our customers. And if you look at travel right now, you know, the airlines are being killed, and lots of companies, because they're not communicating with their customers. I think that's a big mistake. And I really hope that Tour America as a brand will be recognized as a brand that actually has trust behind it. And that future, when it comes back, because it will come back, that they'll say that was a very decent, authentic company. And I think that's a big failure of big organizations. They just go and look at, how do I save money first, and forget about the customer.
Well, I think the thing about your business is that when you're in that kind of travel business and the holiday business, right, to grow, you got to bring more new customers in addition to keeping your existing customers, right? And that is the key. And I think when you look at your stats in terms of repeat customers and loyalty, it's probably one of the highest in the sectors. And I think that's what's enabled you to grow year on year. The insight for me there is that anytime I talk to you, I get a real sense that you play the long game, right? And there's a lot of people in business who take short, opportunistic decisions that actually compromise them longer term. And I think you're willing to take the hard decisions, the long-term decisions that are right for the business, that are right for your staff, that are right for your customers. And people realize that, and people then stay with you, whether it be your team or whether it be your customers. And I think that's what shows. The next area I want to get into is that journey. It's a tough journey, and sometimes it's a lonely place as a founder and a CEO, because a lot of the ground you're covering for the first time. So you haven't, it's kind of uncharted territory, right? And I'm a big believer in the power of getting help along the way, right? Because I think it's really, really important. There's people who have done it before who can give you some advice and give you some support. In fact, it's the essence of the entrepreneur experience, right? And I think we've got a lovely thing going on in the Irish ecosystem, where the vast majority of Irish entrepreneurs that I know and I meet are always willing to help people who are earlier on the journey than them, right? Because they just love to see other people succeed. And I don't think it's a characteristic that exists universally, but certainly we have it in abundance here in Ireland, right? Talk to me about your views on mentorship and help and the role it plays for entrepreneurs looking to scale their businesses.
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree. I think you can't beat the Irish. They're just the kindest people, and they are very good at sharing. And I think that's something that I didn't really know about 25 years ago, the importance of that. And if I was to give one very important advice to anybody starting off, which you know, 25 years ago there wasn't the internet or you know, all these organizations like Cork Bic or the Entrepreneur of the Year program or whatever. So I would say find that mentor. And even I have a 12-year-old son, and I think in life, whatever he finds he wants to do, I'm going to suggest to him that he finds the best of who it does, what that business is, and he spends a year, adds another year onto college or whatever. But I think that is so important. And you know, even Cork Bic, I mean, I've loved being down it, but you feel like you're in your own tribe. You got these people who are just so generous with their time and they want to help. And I'm very lucky. I've been involved with Going for Growth, which is mentoring female entrepreneurs. I'm not involved right now at the moment, but I was for a couple of years. I've met fantastic women and we've really helped each other. And I think don't ever underestimate that the advice you can get, somebody has already done this. They can give you those tips, and there are tips in business that you can never underestimate. And I think that's the best advice you can give anyone. Find people, talk to them. And that's what I'm even doing right now, Pete. You know, I'm having conversations with people. I just want to know and make sure I'm doing things right. I have, my gut is telling me always do the right things. But now I have, you know, I have a business advisor and I'm on an alternative board. I put it to the board. I ask for their advice and I listen. And I take it on board. And that was not Mary McKenna 25 years ago. And if I was giving myself advice now, I would say, you know, make sure you surround yourself with good people that will help and that you help them as well.
Yeah, I heard a great insight. I was on an AIB sustainability conference this morning before this call, and I heard a great insight from Dame Ellen MacArthur, who was the around the world yachtswoman.
Yeah.
And she said that there's more innovation takes place outside your company than inside your company.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're always searching for ideas and insights outside, because sometimes inside it can be, you know, you're trying to create your own innovation, but don't be blinded to what's already being created. And when I talk about innovation, I think about ideas and advice in the same way, because it's people who can share ideas with you, and then you can take the ones that are relevant to you. Somebody also said to me that, you know, everyone you meet can be a 1% person. You can learn 1% from them, right? And that might be a good thing, or you can learn a good thing, what's right, or you can learn what's wrong, but that everybody is an opportunity to learn from. And I think it's a lovely way to go about things. And I think having people in your corner is hugely important. I think the other area, the last main insight is you have a real passion for growth and the development of your business and the care of your people, right? And now you've up to you've a staff of 50 people across your 4 offices, but more importantly, they deal with the, you know, over 40,000 holiday makers every year. So I think over the life of your company, you have brought over 1 million people to different destinations around the world in terms of holidays. So I can only imagine the number of smiles that you guys have created in your business. Dreams, wonderful. Yeah. But the one thing that's important to you is to treat your business as a business and not a lifestyle, despite the fact that travel is a lifestyle kind of business, right? And it's very personable, and it's a small kind of head office team that you have and a core team, but you always treat it as a business. You never fall into the lifestyle trap, which some entrepreneurs fall into, which is when it starts to make a bit of money, that gives me a kind of a disposable income that I can buy the little things I want, and I kind of get comfortable, right? And that is something that you have been wary about. Talk us about your approach there.
So I think even going through COVID now, and you know, like we're burning cash on a monthly basis, and we couldn't do that, and we have to take care of customers. So the one thing I've learned is at a very early stage actually is I would look at other companies' benchmark, and I would look at who in my opinion was doing well, who wasn't, why. So I did a little bit of research on that at a very early stage when I started my business, market intelligence really. And I noticed that people who are reinvesting in their businesses, you know, upscaling and technology. So I just decided that I would build a business and I would I'd invest into it, invest in people. And that today is a saving grace for Tour America, because it has cash flow, it has retained profits to get through these difficult times. And we probably will never see as difficult times as COVID, but we're set up to get through that. And that's because it's run as a business, not a lifestyle. In terms of staff, Pete, you know, just going back to the importance of culture. And this is another key learning tool that I discovered many years ago. So when I have happy staff who know what they're doing and are accountable for what they're doing and enjoy what they're doing, they reflect a very good message to a consumer. A consumer can tell when they're dealing with us, this person cares about me and knows their product. And in particular, when I've looked at Facebook and Tour America over the last couple of months, and I see customers going on, I will book with you again in the future. I'm not booking right now, but I'll be back because your staff were so lovely. It wasn't I was so lovely, it was your staff were so lovely. Well, that's a culture of an organization, that our core values are actually we do care, and things go wrong at times and we fix it. But underneath it all, the staff care about a customer's journey. They're equally as important, because you can have cash flow, run a business as a business, and not have a heart and soul. So I think a heart and soul and having a business head and an accounts head is very important, to know where you are all the time. So I have a screen that has a snapshot of our financials on my screen every day. So I have a P&L on my screen every single day, so I know exactly where I am, what am I spending, what's coming in. I think that's very important, to know your margin, where you make money, and to fail fast. Things that aren't doing well, to get rid of them fast and not be attached to something that will drag you down over years. So they're the couple of key things that are important. And I really hope, look, I'm not here, I'm only telling a story, my story. And I'm not a massive big company, I'm a small company trying to do the right things. These are the things I've learned over 25 years, and I hope to be around for another 20 years. I won't say another 25 years, but, and they were important tools. And if there are any tips there that somebody can look at, I think they're the key things that I've learned. And to keep educating yourself. This time I'm using as an education period. So even to my team, I have 20 staff working at the moment, taking care of customers. And to anybody else who isn't, I'm doing a Zoom call saying, upskill, educate yourself, use this time well. Don't be a victim and, not get up early, get up and start training and learning. And I think that's very important. And it's really important when we talk about, sustainability, and you mentioned that. The other thing I've learned is, to be good in business, you need to keep your mind sharp, your body sharp, and they're key. That helps me be a much better business person and have a life and enjoy it. So they're all the key things that I've learned over 25 years.
Well,
hopefully they're the right things, but
no, listen, I think in terms of your growth to date and your success and your resilience and your agility in coping with COVID, together with the insights around mentorship and not falling into that kind of lifestyle trap, I think there's lots of insights there for our audience to benefit. So
we've never had a loan. The business has never had a loan.
Yeah, and profitable since the first
year. And
year.
started with nothing, like I started in my sitting room, so I lived within my means all the time. So even in the first year, I got secondhand furniture. I said to staff, I can't afford this, but you're very good. But in 2 or 3 years' time, I'll be able to pay a lot more. So they were all important things, to live within your means and run a business accordingly to your turnover and your net profit. They were all crucial things from the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that it's very good advice, particularly for the 2020 and the challenges that face us. So Mary, listen, thanks for your time today. There's some wonderful insights. Okay, and again, thanks for being part of this.
Thanks,
guys. Bye-bye.